Hello, my friends. I'm Julia, your wellness educator and advocate for wise, graceful aging, and today we're going to have one of the most important, calming, and truly empowering conversations you can bring to your next doctor's visit. We're going to talk about medical tests that are often ordered for people over 70. Tests that sound responsible and reassuring on the surface, but that can quietly create stress, cascades of follow-ups, and side effects that don't actually add years to life or life to years. This is not about rejecting medicine. It's about practicing mature medicine. Medicine that respects your stage of life, your goals, your energy, your independence, and your peace of mind. And because vitality is not just the absence of disease, but the presence of circulation, clarity, and steady energy, I'll also share a simple daily addition, a gentle, widely available mineral with a strong track record for supporting healthy blood flow, vascular relaxation, and calm, so you can feel the difference of smart prevention without piling on interventions. Let's begin by dissolving a myth that quietly drains the courage of so many older adults. The idea that more tests automatically equal better care. At 45 or 55, certain screenings can absolutely shift outcomes. At 75, the math changes. Bodies metabolize anesthesia differently. Recovery time lengthens. Incidental findings become more common. The probability that a tiny, slow-growing issue will ever matter within your natural lifespan goes down. Meanwhile, the probability that a cascade of tests will disrupt your routine, your mobility, or your confidence can go up. None of this is a reason for fear. It's a reason for discernment. You're not being difficult when you ask for the rationale behind a test. You're being a responsible steward of your health. Picture Manuel, 77, who loves pruning his roses and sharing mangoes from his tree with neighbors. He went for a routine visit. Someone added a blood test just to be safe. The number came back a little high. That single test triggered a biopsy. The biopsy brought a fever and 2 nights in the hospital. The pathology found a very slow-growing lesion, unlikely to affect him for a decade, longer than his realistic life expectancy based on his overall health. The initial plan suggested surgery anyway. What changed the trajectory wasn't a new device. It was a conversation. What would treating this actually change? What would the next 12 months of his life feel like if he chose aggressive treatment versus active observation? With those questions on the table, Manuel chose monitoring. Today, he still brings fruit to the neighbors and calls his weekly walk a gratitude loop. This is the kind of dignity-informed questions protect. Here's the heart of our approach. With age, the risk-benefit balance of testing flips. A test is not neutral. It carries potential insight and potential harm. So our goal is simple. Say yes when a test has a clear chance of changing outcomes you care about. Say not yet or no when the test mainly increases anxiety, procedures, or side effects without improving your length or quality of life. That calm, steady standard is how we will discuss 5 common tests that many people over 70 have every right to question. As we do, you'll also hear practical words you can use in your own appointments. Consider them a small script of self-advocacy you can speak in a gentle tone that still holds the wheel. Let's start with the most commonly over-ordered screening in older men. A prostate blood test that can climb for many reasons. Most of them not urgent. For men in their 70s and beyond, this number often generates more procedures than benefit. Why? Because many prostate findings in this age range grow so slowly that you are statistically more likely to live your life out with them, not from them. Yet once a borderline result appears, it tends to trigger more blood draws, then imaging, then biopsy, each step with its own risks. Bleeding, infection, urinary irritation, and, if treatment is proposed, the possibility of long-term incontinence and changes in intimate confidence. Here is the question that clears the fog. Given my age and health, would finding and treating something small here actually extend my life or just make my daily life harder? Ask also, if this number is slightly high, what will we do differently? What are the exact risks of the next step for someone like me? When the answers are vague, observation is often the wisest medicine. Now let's move to the large intestine, where colonoscopy has saved lives in midlife. But after 75, especially if previous colonoscopies have been normal, the calculus changes. Preparation is dehydrating and taxing. Sedation carries weight your younger body shrugged off. The risk of complications rises, while the odds that you'll discover something that meaningfully changes your timeline shrink. For many, non-invasive stool tests become a balanced option, easy, at home, and repeated annually or at intervals your clinician recommends. A helpful sentence to bring to your visit is this: I've had normal colonoscopies in the past. At my age and with my history, what is my real risk now? And could we use a less invasive stool test first, only going to colonoscopy if something concerning appears? Notice how that single, calm sentence protects your energy without refusing sensible care. For women over 75, routine mammography deserves an equally honest conversation. The tool can find small, slow changes. But the question is not just can we find, it's will finding and treating this change my life in a meaningful way? False positives are common. Callbacks lead to needles and worry. Some detected lesions are so indolent that treatment may create fatigue, skin changes, or ongoing stress that overshadow any theoretical gain. If you feel more at ease with some interval of gentle surveillance, say so and discuss it. If your overall health is fragile and every appointment costs you days of energy, it can be reasonable to prioritize daily stability over additional scans. A strong question here is, if we discovered a small, slow abnormality, would treatment add time to my life or mainly reduce my quality of life in the near term? When you ask that out loud, you invite a plan that honors the life you're actually living. Diabetes goals also need a maturity update. For decades, the message sounded like this: lower is always better. In older adults, the truth is subtler. Pursuing very tight numbers raises the risk of low blood sugar episodes, shakiness, confusion, falls, hospital visits. The long-term benefits of strict control often don't materialize within a realistic lifespan for someone with multiple conditions. The short-term harms are immediate and tangible. That's why many experts recommend relaxed targets for older adults with frailty, cognitive changes, or complex medication lists. The aim shifts from perfect numbers to steady function, walking safely, sleeping soundly, thinking clearly, enjoying meals without fear. Ask, what target range keeps me stable without courting lows? Which medications raise my risk of sudden drops? If we loosen the target a bit and simplify the regimen, will my days become safer and calmer? In many cases, that gentle recalibration gives people back their mornings. Finally, let's address scans done to rule things out. Without a specific symptom, broad imaging, CTs, PET scans, often finds little spots with long names that sound alarming but may be incidental. Once they're on a report, momentum builds. More tests follow, biopsies are considered, yet many of these curiosities were never going to affect your life. Here, your best tool is a direct, kind question. What symptom or finding makes this scan necessary? And if we find a small, unclear spot, would it actually change my treatment or just add new procedures? If the honest answer is that it would mainly open a door to more testing without a clear path to better outcomes, you have every right to pause. All of this leads to a simple 3-question compass you can carry into any clinic. First, what is my realistic life expectancy and functional outlook given my current health, and how does that change the usefulness of this test? This isn't pessimistic, it's strategic. It focuses care on what truly matters for the years in front of you. Second, if this test finds something, what is the exact plan, step by step, and what are the risks of each step for someone my age? Vague next steps are a red flag. You deserve clarity before you consent. Third, what does the best evidence say for people like me? And is there a less invasive, lower-stress alternative that preserves benefits with fewer downsides? This is how you move from protocol to personalization. Let's bring these questions to life with a few real-world scenes. Elena, 79, has a warm laugh and arthritis that flares if she climbs too many stairs. Her doctor suggests repeating a colonoscopy because the calendar says it's due. Elena says, "I've had 2 normal colonoscopies. Because of my arthritis and how anesthesia lingers for me, could we do an annual stool test instead and only consider colonoscopy if the stool test signals a real concern?" They agree. A year later, her stool test is normal. She gardens without having to plan around a procedure. Or consider Victor, 82, on 3 diabetes medications, who experiences lightheaded spells mid-morning. He asks, "Could we widen my target range and simplify my medications so I lower my risk of lows and falls?" His clinician adjusts the plan. The dizzy spells fade. Instead of chasing a number, Victor goes back to his morning Tai Chi with confidence. Or Ruth, 76, whose mammogram request prompts her to ask, "If a small, slow lesion is found, would treatment extend my life or mainly exhaust me?" Her team discusses her excellent but finite energy. Together they set a gentle surveillance plan that matches her values. In each case, the person didn't fight the system. They invited it to work for them. Now, because circulation is a pillar of clear thinking, warm hands and feet, comfortable walking, and steady heart health, let's talk about that simple addition I promised. It's not a stimulant. It's not a fad. It is a mineral most of us recognize by name but underestimate in impact. Magnesium. In the body, magnesium acts like a quiet conductor, coordinating more than 300 biochemical reactions. 2 of those roles matter deeply for healthy blood flow. It helps vascular smooth muscle relax, and it supports the inner lining of blood vessels, the endothelium, in maintaining healthy tone and nitric oxide-mediated ease. In practical terms, that means magnesium can gently support healthy blood pressure, soothe nighttime leg tightness, ease the jittery edge that stress imprints on vessels, and complement your existing heart-healthy habits without the push-pull of harsher substances. What form matters? Many older adults do well with magnesium glycinate, a chelated form that's easy on the stomach and less likely to loosen stools. Magnesium citrate is common and can help if you struggle with occasional constipation, though it may be too laxative for some. Magnesium malate may support comfortable muscles for those who feel morning stiffness. The point is not to chase exotic labels. It's to choose a form you tolerate and take it consistently. Most people start low, often in the 100 to 200 milligram elemental range daily, and adjust with their clinician's guidance to a comfortable, effective level. Because kidneys and medications can affect how magnesium behaves in your body, especially if you take diuretics, blood pressure medications, or have kidney concerns, it's wise to mention this addition at your next visit. You're not asking permission, you're ensuring teamwork. Food carries magnesium beautifully. Think leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, almonds, cashews, black beans, lentils, avocado, dark chocolate with a high cocoa content, whole grains like oats and brown rice. A daily handful of pumpkin seeds is a simple ritual that many of my audience members love. Crunchy, mineral-rich, friendly to blood sugar when paired with protein. Imagine this small plate, a spinach and avocado salad with a sprinkle of toasted pumpkin seeds and a squeeze of lemon, a side of lentils with olive oil and herbs, a square of dark chocolate after dinner. That's not a supplement routine. That's a circulation-friendly meal, and your blood vessels can feel the difference. How will you know magnesium is helping you? You may notice smoother sleep onset, fewer calf twinges at night, a calmer heart on stressful days, and a sense that your morning walk warms your hands more quickly. None of this replaces medications prescribed for specific conditions. It complements them by tuning the vessel's natural rhythm. In older adults, the goal of any addition is not to overwhelm the system. It's to remove unnecessary friction so your body's own intelligence can show up more easily. Let's weave magnesium back into the broader theme of wise testing. Healthy circulation is one of the best ways to protect cognition, mood, and mobility, all domains that matter more than ever after 70. When you prioritize flow with gentle supports like magnesium, hydration, daily walks, ankle circles before getting out of bed, regular stretching for the calves and hips, and a simple habit of standing up every 30 to 45 minutes during the day to wake up your vessels, you reduce the kinds of vague, uneasy symptoms that often trigger fishing expeditions in the clinic. In other words, by improving your baseline circulation and calm, you lower the likelihood that you'll be sent on a carousel of tests simply because you feel off. This is prevention in its most humane form. I want to offer you a small daily protocol that many older adults find doable and pleasant. In the morning, drink a glass of water before coffee or tea. Circulation loves hydration. Take your magnesium with your first meal if your stomach is sensitive, or in the evening if you find it supports restful sleep. Do 5 minutes of gentle ankle pumps and calf raises while holding the kitchen counter. Step outside for a short walk and let daylight set your body's clock. With lunch, add a leafy green, spinach, arugula, romaine, and some seeds or nuts for magnesium and healthy fats. In the afternoon, stand and stretch every half hour if you've been sitting. In the evening, choose lighter, earlier dinners. Late heavy meals can make sleep and next day blood pressure less cooperative. This is the simplest, most portable circulation plan I know, and it pairs perfectly with your 3-question compass for testing decisions. While we're on daily habits, let's talk about the mental side of medical care after 70. Anxiety loves ambiguity. When someone says, "Let's just run a few tests," your mind fills the silence with worst-case stories. Our antidote is preparedness. Before any appointment, write your top 3 functional goals for the next year. Walk to the park and back without stopping, sleep through the night more often, keep gardening without knee pain. Then write the 3-question compass on the same card. When the conversation turns toward testing, place your card on the table, literally. Say, "I want my care to align with these goals. Help me understand how this test changes my function or my comfort in the next year. What happens if it finds something, and whether there's a simpler alternative that gets us there." This small ritual anchors clinicians too. It reminds everyone that the purpose of care is your life, not a perfect chart. You might be wondering how to handle pushback. Here is the tone I recommend: warm, steady, curious. You can say, "I value your experience, and I also value my energy and time. If we proceed with this test and it finds something small, I need to understand exactly what happens next. If we do nothing different after the result, then I prefer to wait." When you pair respect with specificity, you usually get collaboration, and if you don't, that's data too. It tells you to bring a friend to the next visit or seek another perspective. What about the times when a test really does make sense? Then your same compass helps you proceed wisely. If a new symptom appears, blood where it shouldn't be, unintentional weight loss, persistent cough, chest pain, sudden neurological changes. Timely, targeted testing is an act of self-love. Even then, ask for the narrowest, most informative tool first. Targeted testing is different from broad, fishing expedition testing. It has a clear question, and you deserve that question in plain English. We are ordering this scan to answer X. If it shows Y, we will do Z. When that formula is in place, testing earns its place. Let's return to circulation for a moment because so many older adults tell me, if I could just keep my legs feeling light and my mind clear, I'd feel like myself. Magnesium is one piece. The second is walking, yes, as basic as it sounds. 10 minutes after meals improves blood flow to muscles and helps glucose behave. If you use a cane or walker, those 10 minutes still count deeply. The third piece is breath. Spend 90 seconds a few times a day in slow exhales. Inhale through the nose to a count of 4, exhale to a count of 6 or 8. That slight lengthening of the exhale signals your nervous system to shift from vigilant to receptive, allowing vessels to relax. These are free, safe, and effective. They also change something less tangible, your relationship with your own body. You begin to feel like an ally instead of a supervisor. I want to share a brief story that brings everything together. Harold is 80, a retired teacher with a gentle voice. He came to one of my community talks anxious about a suggested scan to make sure nothing's wrong. He had no specific symptoms. He carried a list of friends who'd had scans and ended up in months of testing. We practiced the 3 questions together. He went to his appointment and asked them, then paused. The team realized they'd ordered the scan out of habit. Instead, they agreed to a 3-month watch, stabilize sleep, add magnesium glycinate in the evening, take a short walk after dinner, and schedule one focused lab test related to his only complaint, morning grogginess. 3 months later, the grogginess was gone, his blood pressure was smoother, and his need for afternoon naps had decreased. No scan, no cascade, just a life that felt more like his. You might notice a theme. Evidence guides us, but values steer us. Evidence tells us that certain screenings after a certain age have diminishing returns and tangible risks. Values tell us what outcomes matter to you right now: independence, clarity, intimacy with your own routine, room for simple joy. When those two meet, evidence and values, decisions feel lighter and more obvious. As we come toward the close, let's gather everything in one breath. You have permission to ask why before you say yes. You have permission to request the smallest effective option first. You have permission to protect your mornings, your walks, your laughter, your naps, your phone calls with old friends. And you have practical tools to do it. A 3-question compass for any test. A daily circulation ritual anchored by hydration, walking, calm breath, and a gentle dose of magnesium chosen with your clinician's input. This is mature medicine. It neither overreacts nor undercares. It honors the difference between finding more and living better. If you're caring for an older loved one, these same tools are for you. Put the compass card in your pocket. Sit side by side, not across the table, at appointments if you can. Ask for plain language summaries. Repeat back what you heard. So we're doing this test because of X. If it shows Y, we'll do Z. If it shows nothing, we'll celebrate and go home. That little loop of repetition prevents misunderstandings and keeps momentum pointed toward well-being. Before we finish, a brief word about the mineral we highlighted. If you decide to try magnesium, start with a small, consistent dose. Choose a form that treats your stomach kindly, and bring it into conversation with your clinician, especially if you take medications for blood pressure or have kidney concerns. Notice how you sleep, how your legs feel at night, and how easily your walks warm up your body. Consider it not a miracle, but a member of your team. The miracle, if there is one, is your body's capacity to respond to supportive inputs even in later decades. I want to leave you with a single, clear sentence that can frame every decision from this day forward. The best test after 70 is the one that clearly improves the next year of your life. If a test cannot make that promise, you may not need it. If a small daily habit can deliver that improvement instead, better sleep, steadier walking, calmer blood pressure, start there and let your body show you what wise care looks like from the inside. If this conversation brought you relief, clarity, or a sense of calm power, take a moment to reflect on one decision you can reframe this week. Maybe it's asking for a simpler alternative to a planned test. Maybe it's placing a glass of water by your bed and a small dish of pumpkin seeds on your kitchen counter. Maybe it's printing the 3-question compass and slipping it into your wallet. If you know someone who is navigating a maze of appointments right now, share this message with them. Sometimes a few kind sentences are the difference between a spiral and a plan. And if you'd like more gentle, evidence-guided guidance for the season of life you're in, feel free to subscribe and stay close. We'll keep walking this path together, steady, informed, and kind to our bodies.